This tutorial is brought to you by FreeSWITCH Solutions. Get the FreeSWITCH advantage. Welcome back to FreeSWITCH with Fred. In the next few videos, I'll be starting on the means of controlling FreeSWITCH externally. To achieve this, you need to use the FreeSWITCH event socket library. And the preferred method of connecting to the FreeSWITCH console is by using the FSCLI program, where FSCLI stands for FreeSWITCH Command Line Interface. This program comes with FreeSWITCH as part of the default installation and works with almost any operating system, that is Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. FSCLI is an excellent example of an ESL program. Of course, that means that everything you can do at the FreeSWITCH console can be done in an event socket program. The default configuration of the event socket allows FreeSWITCH to listen for connections from all networks on port 8021. But it's also important to note that the FreeSWITCH access list program only allows connections from the loopback address. And so, to save yourself some troubleshoot time, if your connections to 8021 do not work, it's important you could consider changing 000 to 127 to make sure that the connections are working fine. Looking at my default configurations for the event socket, I've configured the loopback address and leaving everything else at default. After doing that, you should be able to connect to the FreeSWITCH console using FSCLI command. You can limit the logging by using /log0, or you can increase it using /log7. And of course, this test call will show us how much log that FreeSWITCH will display on the screen. It's a lot of logs. So I've enabled all events, and when you run that command /events plain all, you should see events popping up on the console. Of course, we have an example of an event there. And of course, to disable them, you would say /no event. When you type help at the FSCLI program, you can see all the commands listed that you can run and do different activities. And when you use show API, you should also be able to see the number of commands that you can actually run. /help can help you look at some of the standard commands that you can run at the FSCLI. You can also filter, you can log filter, and filter the events that happen on your console. Let's try to check if the mod event socket module is installed. Of course, remember the command that mod exists, and the mod event socket, of course, it exists, otherwise we wouldn't be able to connect to the console. You can also run these commands from the Linux command line using the -x argument as shown here. If you are interested in changing the password of the FSCLI, you need to modify this in the code. Let's look at the code and see how this password is read by the FSCLI code. Of course, it first checks the etcfscli.conf for the configurations. So if you're really interested in changing the default password of the event socket, remember to create a default file for the FSCLI program so that you can use that new password to connect. So I can create that file, and I'll copy the configuration file over to etc. So I will have the etcfscli.conf file, and then I can have those default configurations added in there. Alright, so we're still able to connect, and let's modify that password now. If I make that password wrong in the configuration file, maybe I add 1234, and I try to connect again, the program will not work because it looks like FSCLI program first tries to check the configuration file. If it exists, it uses those configurations in that file, and it ignores the rest that is installed with it. So if we want to use this password, okay, let's take it back to normal, to the default. and there we go, it works again. So if we want to change the password for the event socket so that we use a new password that apart from the default, when we change it probably to 1234, we have to set the same thing for the FreeSWITCH program and all our other event socket programs. Of course, if you do that, you have to reload XML. So if I try to connect, since I've changed the password, it will not work until I set the new password in the configuration file. I have to set it back to 1234, and for sure that should work. Now, after we are done with that, let's try a local Telnet connection to port 8021. Of course, when you type telnet localhost 8021, you have to authenticate with a new password, and that has worked. So once that has been accepted, you can now run any commands that you would run on FreeSWITCH, and they are sent to FreeSWITCH. To write ESL programs, of course, we need to install the modules that will help us connect to these programs. In my case, I'm going to use PAL, which is a personal preference, but the ESL program supports multiple programming languages or different programming languages, that is Python, C, and PHP, and many other languages. So we have to go into the source and make that program, and after we make it, there are different examples that we can try out. We have the single command script that we can run. Of course, it takes one argument, so you can use that, but it tells you it cannot find the body. So let's check in and see. But remember, our FreeSWITCH is now having a password of 1234. So all our scripts will have to connect with 1234 in order for that to work. There you go. So the single command PAL script with the argument of status has been able to connect to FreeSWITCH and given it a command of status and displaying the results on the screen. Let's try another command of help that will also return results. So this is an example script that you can check out to see how it was written. It's a very short script that you can look at, and then you can even pipe the results to a text file, and then you check that file for whatever has been returned. Thank you very much. I hope this was a very good introduction to ESL. In the next video, I'll be looking at inbound and outbound sockets. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. If you want to advance your knowledge in FreeSWITCH, check out our website for the best training offers, or you can meet us at the CLI conference in Illinois, Chicago.